In today's video, we go fossil hunting at 2 different beaches and see what we can find. After that, our dad is preparing the biggest ever example of a Lithosaurus ammonite that we have ever found. Let's get started. Just going to have a look around these loose bits of shale and pebbles, see if there's any complete fossils laying around. I think I've possibly spotted one. Just down there. Spotted another one in the same shot as well, actually. Just there. And there's a third. Got a nice little one inside. And the other one was just... oh, there's also one in this slab as well. There's a lovely... well, actually, that one's got 2 inside. It's got a crack through it as well. Might be able to open that quite easily. Well, very nice. A few nice, perfect little ones. Didn't expect to find this many so quickly. Let's continue having more of a look. Plenty of stones to look through. Oh, just spotted another one. Can you see where it is as well? You might have already seen it by now, but there is another, well, looks like just a partial bit of an ammonite. It's got a complete centre to it. I'll leave this one here for someone else to find though. There's just part of an outer world of another specimen. Oops. Wow, from a distance, well, first of all, there's quite a few fresh slabs here that have just come out, probably in the last couple of weeks or so. I've just spotted perfect, pretty big ammonite. It's quite obvious, but I'll give you a moment just to make sure you can see it. So it's right down there. It's pretty obvious. Looks like it's gonna come up really easily with the hammer and chisel. It's got a nice little shell underneath it as well. Might as well chip it up now, see if it's whole on the other side. I'm just gently chipping around it. Just carefully removing as much shale as we can before we lift it out. It's looking really good. It's not too far from being able to be lifted up. Just get this last little bit off. There we go, so it's got a nice thickness to it. Should be an absolutely perfect specimen inside that. Really nice. There's a lovely little Ammonite fossil there. One of the squid-like creatures. Just a small one. And there's also this big partial Ammonite. Sadly not complete, but has been a very big one. Part of a Dinosaurs Ammonite. This nodule we opened was filled with fossilised shells. Absolutely loads of them, lots of little specimens inside this one. I've spotted another lovely, or potentially really nice Ammonite. Can you see where this one is? So this one is right there. I can see the golden edge. Moment of truth. And it's a perfect one. Lovely pyritized specimen. Makes have the golden appearance. This species is a Dinosaurs, which is relatively uncommon. Here's another example of a little Dinosaurs ammonite we found. In comparison to the previous one, this specimen was completely encased in rock still. However, there was a really significant crack through it, and just with a couple of little taps of our hammer and chisel, it opened incredibly easily. This unusual nodule contained a specimen which we've never found before. We're not entirely sure what species it is at the moment, however we'll try and find out. It was really calcified and a really impressive little ammonite. Here's the ammonite that I mentioned at the start of the video, one that we've never found before. This is a Dinosaurs ammonite, and here's what it looked like at the time we found it. Still covered in rock and totally unprepared at this point. It's a lovely big chunky specimen. Looks really unique and very different to the usual types of ammonites that we find. My dad has now since prepared this ammonite, and there's a few photographs of it fully prepared. Here's a look at the finished Dinosaurs ammonite after our dad has prepared it. We also have an enormous ammonite which we're preparing in the last part of today's video, but this ammonite is the Dinosaurs we've just shown you. As you can see, the leaf-like suture patterns are absolutely spectacular. This is one of the very few examples of a Dinosaurs ammonite that we have ever found. Now we're going to move on to day 2 where we're going fossil hunting with Shale and Tom and myself. Should be a pretty good fossil hunt. Don't forget, after day 2, we're watching the enormous Litosaurus Ammonite being prepared. Me, Shale and our friend Tom have come out fossil hunting today. I've already spotted a really nice Ammonite in a nodule in a big shale slab. So we're going to go and chip it out now. So let's go have a look at the fossil. The first thing I'm going to do is just slowly pan across near where the fossil is. Try and have a look to see if you can spot it. It's a pretty big, obvious fossil. The fossil's now in shot. Right over there you can see the Ammonite poking out of the nodule. Just going to go up a bit closer to it and get a closer look. This Ammonite is a Hildosaurus Ammonite. You can see the outer whorl, lots of little sutures on it. It's pretty firmly embedded into this shale slab, so we're going to need to use our hammer and chisel to be able to properly get the nodule out. Shale's going to reveal it. As you can see, the most important thing to do first is to get your safety goggles on. You don't want to be working with stone and not have any eye protection. It's quite possible a little piece of metal from the chisel could break off, or a piece of shale could fly up and hit you. Wow, look at that. That's going to be perfect inside. The next thing for us to do is to wash it off and have a closer look at the Ammonite sticking out round the edge. And then we can get on with opening the nodule up and seeing what the fossil is like inside. Wow, it's pretty good size as well.
It's got nice sutures.
Yeah. Might as well crack it open. Oh, very nice.
It's got lovely colours.
Yeah.
Just wash it in the water.
All in all, the first fossil came out really well. Came out of the slab very easily, and then the nodule opened up in just a single tap of the hammer. I was expecting it to be a lot more difficult to open it up. We've also spotted a few more nodules in another shale slab nearby, so we'll go chip those out now as well. Before chipping the next nodules out of the slabs, I'm going to have a little look around for some other fossils. Got a pretty nice partial Ammonite which I spotted amongst the shale, so I'll see if you can spot that as well. And Shale also comes across a really interesting piece of fossilised wood. The Ammonite fossil is round here among the shale. Can you see where it is? The fossil is right down there. Pretty nice little piece to find. Found a few other little ammonites and things walking along. Nothing too exciting to include in the video. This piece of fossilised wood was wedged between some pretty big nodules. Really good quality, well preserved. You can see all of the detail on it. And in this slab there's two more perfect ammonite nodules. There's one on the surface pretty obviously, and another one poking out the side. This ammonite nodule is very thin. You wouldn't be able to open this with a hammer. It would need much finer tools. The shale here is really soft. It's probably because it's dried out a lot in the hot sun. Again, there's another perfect ammonite there, and one that will be prepared with proper tools. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next fossil hunt. Last but not least, the final part of today's video is watching the preparation of an awesome, enormous Lithoceros ammonite. Let's have a look at it. In today's fossil preparation video, we're going to be preparing one of our best ammonite fossils to date. This is one that we found whilst we're on a fossil hunt, me, my dad and my brother Shale. It's a really large Lithoceros ammonite. We found a few of this species in the past, however this one is ginormous compared to all the previous. It's also incredible quality, as you'll soon see as we go and prepare the fossil throughout the video. Got a few clips of it before we've prepared it. Got quite a bit of footage of preparing it itself, and then we'll see the finished ammonite as well at the end of the video. Let's start by having a look at the ammonite before we did any preparation to it whatsoever. Here you can see the first part has been revealed of the Lithoceros ammonite. A lot more rock still to be taken off though. That's the outer whorl. Should continue into the shale a little bit, and then the fossil should coil around, be preserved in here. Quite a nice big thick nodule over the top of it. The first thing that we started to do was glue the ammonite back together. When we'd found it, it was in around 3 pieces, including pieces of shale which also needed to attach on. Once we'd got it all glued back together, we could start with the preparation. Because some of the shale was cracked when we found it, there was a few gaps as well. Quite a little bit of restoration work to be done. But now that it's all glued together, we can actually start preparing it. The first thing to do is remove the bulk of the limestone. There's a mix of limestone and shale around the ammonite. You can see here this softer matrix is almost all just shale, but there is also tough limestone nodule, particularly over the centre of the ammonite. As we go through the video, you'll see we use a variety of tools to start to expose the fossil. This here is one of the air pneumatic tools. It's very good for removing bulk amounts of rock. Now that a lot of it was removed, we can actually start to reveal the outer part of the ammonite. We're starting with the biggest part of the fossil and then working our way towards the centre of it. Up to now there's already quite a few hours work gone into it. See there, piece by piece, removing the rock away from the shell of the outermost world. It's very satisfying seeing all the rock come off quite quickly. Really is very soft shale over this part of the fossil. Some of the rock removes to reveal the shell perfectly, and in other cases some of the rock is removed and it leaves a thin layer of rock still over the fossil. So we do the best we can to just remove as much as possible, ready for doing all the fine work later on. You can see here it's so soft. A lot of the matrix is actually quite rotten. It's not usually this easy to come off, at least for specimens from this area. Now that the outer world is almost all exposed, we can start to reveal the inner worlds. These are a lot more challenging to expose. Got a very tough limestone nodule protecting them.
As you can see, we've now had the fossil glued back together. It was in a couple of pieces to begin with, and my dad has started thinning out the majority of the matrix that was covering the fossil. Now that we've removed quite a lot of it, we need to still continue removing more and more rock. The closer to the fossil itself that we get, the finer and finer the preparation becomes, removing tiny little bits of rock at a time and exposing different details. We'll use a variety of tools to remove the rest of the rock, including air abrasives and the pneumatic tools. Let's continue seeing the ammonite get prepared.
After spending quite a few more hours on the preparation, we're now at the stage where we can start using air abrasives to remove the finest details of the fossil. You can see here we've stabilised the back of the specimen. This is to keep it held together and protected over time. The fossil still looks quite rough at this stage. That's because there's a lot more work to be done. However, you can get the rough idea of what the fossil looks like. You can very nicely see the outline of all of the worlds. Something that surprised us with this fossil was that it was actually all preserved towards the very centre of the specimen. Such a large fossil being preserved completely to the centre is very unusual. It was such a nice surprise. Few more hours invested into the fossil, and we still have more air abrasive work to go. You can see now the fossil is really starting to shape up. But we're not done yet. Here my dad uses an air abrasive tool to remove very tiny, precise pieces of limestone and shale, one little piece at a time. It's a very time-consuming process. This fossil took several weeks to prepare, spending a few hours each day. However, as you can see, the results are certainly looking to be worth it. In just a couple of minutes, we'll be seeing the finished result.
The fossil now is getting closer and closer to being finished. I'm not going to film the very final details because it's a very long, time-consuming process. So the next part of the video, I'm going to be showing you the finished ammonite fossil itself. Let's have a look at it.
I've got a few photos to begin with, showing close-ups of the outer worlds. We also have a nice amount of video footage to show you the fossil overall. Seeing the fossil finish like this really makes you realise just how much work goes into a fossil start to finish, and how worth it is to actually spend that time getting it to this stage. And here it is, the finished large Litosaurus Ammonite. I think this fossil surprised all of us at just how well it turned out. From finding it in several pieces, not thinking for a second that it would be the complete Ammonite there, never mind preserved all to the centre. The Ammonite has turned out to be, personally, one of the favourite Ammonites in our collection. I think my dad has done an absolutely incredible job preparing this fossil, as he does with all of our fossils. Really is a work of art and requires a lot of dedication to prepare a fossil to this standard. Takes a lot of time.
And there we have it. Had a look at the full preparation process. Quite a bit of footage there that I didn't end up recording. The entire preparation process took many hours over a period of weeks. Here's just a short video today which showed the overall process. Hope you like the fossil as much as we do. It's definitely one of our favourites, and I think it's personally one of the best ammonites in our collection. Hopefully we find something else similar.
Every single nodule here contains an ammonite fossil. They range from large to small ammonites, and also different species. The majority of nodules here will open up really well. You can never guarantee which ones will, however these have the best chance. If you'd like a selection of ammonites to open up yourself at home, please contact us on our Instagram page, yorkshire.fossils, or alternatively visit our official website, yorkshirefossils.net, for both ammonites to open yourself, as well as fully prepared specimens. And if you do get some, I really hope you enjoy opening them, and thanks in advance for supporting what we do. I hope you've enjoyed this 3-part video, watching 2 fossil hunts at 2 different beaches. We found a number of pretty nice fossils. The fossil preparation video was also something pretty special. Needless to say, we're incredibly happy with all of the finds from today's video, and in particular the fossil we prepared. Got a couple of clips now just to round off the video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.